It's all around mindset. Because if you have a positive mindset around money, you look at life differently too. You attract abundance instead of meeting the lack.
I think it's just really important, particularly now that our world has adapted the communication of virtual, that it's very rare, I think, that a woman wakes up on March 8th, International Women's Day, and actually feels part of a global movement.
It's helping women to have a community and also to bring people together. Like right now, I think women in general are looking for something to be a part of.
The fact is, we all live in the saboteur brain. It's what drives us. And it's part of, I think, going back to the caveman days, that's how we survive. But when we're in survival mode, we're not able to be innovative and creative and, do the things that we want to do.
Having healthy food is more than just losing weight. It's about sleeping healthy, not getting diabetes, getting through your work day with energy and vitality.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health. Then I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the question. So let's get on with the show.
Before we start today's video, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another Empowering Family Health podcast. I love these shows. Oh my goodness, the guests that I have on my shows are just so inspiring and empowering, and I'm really excited about this episode. We have a couple of people who are speakers on the next 262 January Summit. We're going to be talking all about that. But before we bring our guests in, let me read you out some of their bios and to give you a taster of what we're going to be talking about today, because this podcast is really going to highlight what they're going to be speaking about on the 8th of January. And actually, before I even read out the bio, this is so important, because this podcast is all about empowering families, right? And, we go out into the world and we go into our jobs, and how we're being in the world has an impact on the people that we meet in our outside world, in the jobs that we work in the supermarket, whatever it is and then in our families, especially our children, our spouse. And it really does cause an impact who you are being. And particularly we're talking about women as leaders in the world. And the woman is the leader in a house, which is a very, very big job. And we're going to be speaking about that as well on this podcast, because it's often overlooked, and then many women are entrepreneurs as well, or CEOs, and they might be running a home-based business, and it's a lot. It's a lot to take on, and it's undervalued, it's undermined, it's underappreciated. So we're really going to highlight that today, and really highlight, the power that women really do have in the world and in the family, in business organizations, but as leaders in the world, because we have that compassion, right? We have that nurturing that females, women, mothers are known to have. And it's really important, especially in the world that we're living in right now, because there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of busyness, it's like the rat race is just crazy. And, women and mothers, we have that motherly instinct, even whether we have children or not, we have that motherly instinct, that caring. But the most important thing is we have to look after ourselves first. Because if we don't care for ourselves first, and we often overlook that as well, and when we overlook these things, then we can't give from an empty cup. We just can't give from an empty cup. So we need to it's really important that we look after ourselves. So this podcast, Empowering Family Health, is all about empowering you to understand, to take back your power, take back your control, so that you can fill your cup up and give from an overflowing cup to your children, to your spouse, to the people that you meet out in the world. As you can see, I'm just so excited. Really, really excited. So do register for this upcoming summit on the 8th of January. It's a full day event of self-care. And we have a series of speakers. I'm going to be co-hosting along with Deborah Drummond, and I'm so excited about that. Absolutely, yes. There's Deborah giving the wave in the background. Yes, it's going to be absolutely incredible. I've been on a series of these summits building up to this 262 Women's Project, Speakership and Authorship project that Deborah is the change maker, the ripple maker, the movement maker behind this project. And this summit coming up on the 8th of January is the next summit that you can come to for free. There's free goodie bags on the day. You'll get something for free. There is special spot prizes on the day as well. We're going to talk all about that anyway, so loads more to say. But first, let's dive in and let me introduce you to the wonderful people that we're going to be speaking to today. So first up is Monica Chang. Monica is the founder and CEO of Start with Clarity Counselling. Now, she's been studying leadership development and human behaviour for over 25 years, and she coaches CEOs and executives to develop the mental fitness to achieve exceptional business results without sacrificing their health and well-being. And mental fitness is something that we're really going to zone in here as well. It's really, really important. She holds a graduate certificate in executive coaching and a master's in adult education, and she's done lots of other kind of studies. She's also a positive intelligence coach. We're going to be talking, I actually took part in that a few years ago as well. So when we talk about mental fitness, right, we've been hearing a lot about this and the rise in mental health issues and stress over the last several years, especially after, you know, that episode in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. And what's often missing is an understanding of how to support women in particular, because they often carry the overwhelming load of all the responsibilities, juggling careers, children, all these things, and we don't have enough time for self-care. So mental fitness, this is something we're going to be talking about with Monica, and positive intelligence as well. Next up, we have Cheryl Rafter. So she is the courageous comeback coach. Oh, wow, watch out for Cheryl. So Cheryl is going to be talking to us all about her book, her international best-selling book that has just been released, and in 6 countries, and it's called Ignite Your Courage. She's over 15 years experience in the hairstyling industry, and this whole area has given her a lot of experience and confidence in the work that she's doing with people, and she's really played an integral role in growing companies as well. And her passion is really to give you that courage to come back from whatever situation that you find yourself in, because let's face it, we all have challenges that we're facing in the world, whether it's small, big, traumas, whatever. We all have challenges. Life is not an easy ride, otherwise it would be boring, right? And this is why and how we grow through all these adversities. So Cheryl's going to be talking to us a little bit about that. And then we have Mary Lummerding, also known as Chef Mary. So she is a personal chef and a cooking consultant, and she coaches home-based entrepreneurs and professionals to make their own healthy, easy meals while saving money. This is really, really important because, again, over the years, we've been spending a lot of money on takeaways, on convenience foods, and they're not often healthy. So Mary helps to encourage her clients to include their children as well. It's very, very important. And her business name is Kitchen Times, and she helps you to make more time in your kitchen to be more fun and interesting and productive. And cooking gives busy people a break from their work, as she says as well, because cooking is fun. It's supposed to be fun, not hard work. And it does give us a break from that monotonous work that we do as well. So she's earned culinary management degrees at George Brown College in Toronto. And she's earned her chef's papers at BCIT as well in Canada. And she has cooked professionally for 10 years. And then we have Joyce Ingram, and she helps individuals and families by providing financial education, lifestyle, and peace of mind. Peace of mind, that's what's missing in many families, isn't it? We can't sleep at night time because our mind is busy worrying about things, and especially financial concerns as well. Now, all her life, she has been in the corporate world in roles of account management to sales coordinator. And for the past few years, she's been helping to educate individuals and families on financial education, how money and debt works as well, in Canada in particular. But it's all across the world, isn't it? We're not educated in schools all across the world about finance and how to manage our money. So unfortunately, it's not taught. And So what Joyce is doing is she's very passionate about helping people and giving them more power to help them make decisions so that they can provide for themselves and their family, and again, mostly having this peace of mind. And last but not least, we have the wonderful Deb Drummond. So we have a full house today. So Deb Drummond is the change maker, the ripple maker, the movement maker behind this 262 Women's Project. And I've worked with Deb a lot in the past. I've been on her podcast. She's been on my podcast several times. She is an Ultrapreneur. She is just incredible. I don't know how she does what she does. She's a mum manager, as she called herself now as well, right? She's helping her son in the business world as well. So she has many hats that she's juggling as well, and in this entrepreneurial world, and she's just incredible at what she's doing. And I take my hat off to Deborah as well for this project that she's doing, because I mean, it's not easy, it's challenging, but it's so much fun as well. So I really get that. So everybody, you're so welcome. So let me start with, who will we start with? We'll start with Mary. Will we start with Mary? Mary, tell us a little bit about what you do as a chef. So you're a professional chef. What do you see happening, and what is it that people are coming to you for when it comes to cooking at home, and how do you help them? Because it's really important that we eat healthy, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thank you for having me, Joanne. It's lovely to be here with everyone today. How do I help people? I help people that are bored with cooking, or they eat out a lot and they're not healthy anymore, because that's not a good way to eat. It's not sustainable. And I like to encourage them to look at their schedule, their routine, how they live, and work it into their own life. Because because,
I get that. I know it was about restaurants, Mary. I don't know if you know it's the same, but everything in restaurants, most restaurants, it's all microwaved. It's all heated up and reheated, and we lose a lot of our nutrients when everything's reheated and it's pre-prepared, and we can spend a fortune like in restaurants.
Yes.
And it's not always organic foods either, so not always the healthiest choices. Because it's a business at the end of the day. And you help people to save time. So how do you do that? What is it you do when it comes to schedules? Can you give us an example of what it is that you tell your clients?
Yes, well, this one woman that I worked with, we looked at her schedule, and she had lots of time at the beginning of the week, like on a Monday. So we figured out that she could use a slow cooker and prepare food in the morning, and then it's ready in the evening. And also with a slow cooker, you have extra meals, so you can put those into the freezer and have those later in the week when you're busy, and have what I call a heat and serve meal. Because they were finding by the end of the week, they were too busy and didn't want to cook, and they had something they could just take out of the freezer and heat up. And that's one thing.
It's almost like bulk making your food for the week kind of thing as well, isn't it? I love cookers.
Yes.
I love doing meat dishes in particular in slow cookers, because the meat literally, it just falls off the bone, and it's in Ireland we make a lot of Irish stews. So we make beef stews, and I leave mine cooking for maybe 3 or 4 hours on a really slow. And it's just absolutely gorgeous, all your hearty vegetables, and oh my God, I'm getting hungry. But it's absolutely, so it's really important, because we're not always in the humour as well of cooking, because it takes a lot of time. And I really believe that when we're cooking, you're actually putting your energy goes into your food. So we want to have that fun and joy in the kitchen when we're cooking our food, because that really does go into our food, because we're all vibrational beings, and with food. And I think it actually tastes better as well when you put more. And so when you bulk make the food, it can really help to save time, and it was made with love in the kitchen as well. So that's really, really interesting. I'm going to move on to Joyce. Joyce, I want to move on to you, Joyce. Can you tell us a little bit about how you help your clients? You're in the financial world, and I really get it that, we're not taught this stuff in school. So how is that making a difference, what you're doing to people?
Well, thank you for having me this morning, Joanne. How I help clients or, families is that because education is lacking, I find, in our system and throughout, in our school years, I don't recall ever having it. And I know that for friends of mine in the university, excuse me, area, they're not getting it either. So my focus really is to be able to go out and share the knowledge of how money debt works, how people can start having positive mindset around saving money, like spending habits, and being very mindful of what they're doing. So really focus is education. And once we have that understanding, then we can move on to the next step and identify where there might be some gaps as far as how we can help them save more money and for their future or whatever it is that they want for themselves as well.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely incredible because, you know, everybody I've spoken to, you know, growing up or whatever, they seem to have this relationship with money that, you know, like a scarcity, like if we don't have enough money, then there's a consequence of some sort. And it's like, you know, we've heard it saying, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, or I can't afford this. So we really have to mind the language that we're using around it as well. So it's a lot of mindset stuff as well, isn't there, Joyce, around it?
Totally. It's all around mindset. Because if you have a positive mindset around money, you look at life differently too. You attract abundance instead of being the lack of, right? So where I really encourage people is just to have spending or like savings habits and, you know, like having it already, allowing yourself to have savings to spend whatever it is you want so that you already have the money available for you for that purpose.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just so incredible, you know, with the mindset. And because you see, we've been programmed with all this nonsense, you know, from a baby, like growing up, and it's generational as well. It's going back. So it's not an easy task to undo that, but it can be done. We can reprogram our mind, have a new relationship with money. I always remember when I was learning about that, you know, I was like, how can you have a relationship with money? You only have a relationship with people. No, it's not. You can have a relationship with anything, like, you know, and it's your attitude, basically. It's your attitude towards something, what it means to you and all that kind of stuff. So I love what you're doing, Joyce. It's very much needed in the world, and especially for our children, you know, because the children coming into the world now are very, they're not the same as my generation anyway. They're not afraid.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So great. Thanks, Joyce, for being here. Deb, I'm going to come to you, Deb. So Deb, come here and listen. You've been doing an incredible amount of summits and, you know, all the speakership, authorship, and you've even got a 262 wine club. Tell us, Deb, why you are so freaking passionate about this. Like, why is this important to you, Deborah?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love how you interview. It's so fun and empowering for everybody. And thank you for just everyone being here today. That's a really bold, large, in-depth couple. Now you know why we've created wine in the project. That would be a bottle of wine to answer. But part of it is because I've always been that way. And part of it is because it's my way of expressing the true mission around what I believe solidarity is. Like, I think the word is gumption and solidarity. I have always been drawn to people that take high risk. Do you know what I mean? And put themselves out there. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of different stuff that happens behind the curtain, and it's a big project, and it's kind of, you know, I always say it's steak and lobster and rice and peas, and most people understand what that means. But I think it's just really important, particularly now that our world has adapted the communication of virtual, that it's very rare, I think, that a woman wakes up on March 8th, International Women's Day, and actually feels part of a global movement. I think that somehow has been lost through the time of we're no longer marching in the streets, and we're not signing petitions, and we're not getting together in basements. And oh my gosh, you know, all the history of this movement and how it came. And I'm a true believer. Like, here's interesting. You talked about how I was calling myself a momager. Look at this generation right now, that every single one of us that is on there, and any of you that are entrepreneurs that braved up and took that stand, that generation is looking to us. Like, we actually carved an open door to the generation coming up. And the women before us opened and carved a door for us. And I don't know if that is getting out there to the world like it used to, because some of the indifferences are more subtle. Like, we can do this or we can do that. Or because we live in the world that we live in the part of the world we live in, sometimes we don't remember that some women aren't even allowed to, they can't text the word International Women's Day without ending up in jail. So I think it's important that we all feel solidarity, and we can do it energetically. So there you go. There's my, don't ask me, I go, woo, right up on that soapbox. But I think the mission is strong. And I've also, without sounding too leaning in, I'm a lean in kind of girl. I feel like this was, I don't feel like this was something I created. I think it was a job I was given to do.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I really, really get that. Yeah, because this was all divinely downloaded to you. Yeah, you're like, no,
What was I thinking? I'm like, I told you, right? My next book is God # pick on somebody else. Like, if I make it through this, I'll just buy my next book. I mean, seriously, people.
Well, you know what they say, you're never given something that you can't do, Deborah. So maybe you need a lot of help from everybody else, but that's what we're all here to do. And women are great at doing that, stepping up and helping each other. And I hear what you're saying as well, that there are some women around the world who, you know, they're very shut off and, you know, they don't even own, some people don't even own a phone, like, you know, or they can't go out on their own and all this sort of thing. So the women who can stand up and show up, we have an obligation to do this, to raise that energy, because that will ripple through the world and it will make an impact on these women who don't have a say at the moment, you know, but we're going to change all of that, you know, and the history, it's a story. It's just a story, right? It's not real. We're powerful. We have a place in this world. We really do. And like, so do men, but it's working together and using our skills, you know, as women. And we really are great leaders, and we need that. It's that compassion element, I think, and that heart-led stuff. And I think women are better at doing that. You know, I'm talking about, you know, generalizing, but women are, you know, more heart-led leaders, really. You know, men are just quick thinkers. They do think quickly, you know, whereas the women, we like to discuss it and, you know, and really weigh up all the risks and what have you. And we're very nurturing, very, very nurturing, compassionate. But Deborah, what you said as well is that we do need to look after ourselves first, because our children are very much influenced by us. And if we're leading the way, we don't even have to sit down and teach our children stuff, right? They're learning from what we're doing and how we're being. So this is what this is all about, right? Is really showing up in the world and keeping our cup filled up. So thank you, Deborah, for that. The ability to rest is the body's key to healing. Do you struggle with getting asleep at nighttime, or staying asleep during the night and waking up the next morning feeling absolutely exhausted? My book, How to Get a Good Night's Sleep, is easy to understand. It's solution-based and it's packed with research to help you take back control of your night's sleep. My book is available on Amazon, and it's also available on howtogetaggoodnightsleep.com. This book is also available in audio and ebook. So get your copy today and start having the best night's sleep that you've only ever dreamed of. I'm going to come to Monica next. So Monica, you are in the world of positive intelligence. Now, I did this program a long time ago and I absolutely love this, because tell us a little bit about it. It's all about the mind, isn't it? You know, and the saboteurs and the sage and all that. Just open that up a little bit more for us, because I think it's very, very empowering.
Yeah. So that term saboteur brain, sage brain, basically it means that, you know, it tends to be more in the left side of the brain. That's the brain that has the emotions of stress, frustration, anger, you know, all those wonderful, you know, things that stress.
We all know.
Yeah, we all know it very, very well. And the idea with sage brain is we train our clients to shift from the saboteur brain to the sage brain, which sits more on the right hand side of the brain, which sits the emotions of, you know, compassion and curiosity and empathy. So those positive emotions. And the fact is, we all live in the saboteur brain. It's what drives us. And it's part of, I think, going back to the caveman days, that's how we survive. But when we're in survival mode, we're not able to be innovative and creative and, you know, do the things that we want to do. For me, this is a work of passion. As an executive coach, I decided to bring positive intelligence into my toolbox because I recognize that sheer will and mindset is not enough to change behavior. So part of being a coach is I help people understand and get clarity, which is why the companies start with clarity consulting. I want them to get clarity around what's really going on. But for us to be able to shift that mindset and sheer will, because those neural pathways are so strong in that saboteur brain, we need to shift to the sage brain. And we do that using technology and neuroscience. So we don't just do coaching. We're using technology and neuroscience to help people shift to long-term sustainable behaviors, right? Yeah. And so we talk about peak performance, strong relationships, health and well-being, right? We need a little bit of extra help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's, you know, what I'm hearing, Monica, as well, is been able to use the whole brain, because there's different parts of the brain that do different jobs. And there's the primitive brain and the emotional brain and the conscious brain, the thinking brain, right? And it's been able to access all those parts of the brain to really optimize, because how we think, Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza talks about this quite a lot, you know, how we think makes us how we feel, and that produces chemicals in our body, and, you know, good hormones or bad hormones or stress hormones, all based on what's going on up here. And then our beliefs all come from the past, you know, and then we have anxiety and depression and all this kind of thing, you know, and anxiety is future based, and it's just incredible. But without going into too much detail and getting too, you know, it's I think we all need to understand a certain amount, like, you know, how the brain works and how to use the whole brain. But it's that mental fitness again, isn't it? You know, practicing.
Yeah.
And because we can actually regrow, we can prune those the neurons in the brain, the neuroplasticity, as you say, like. And if I can add a little bit in there as a sleep coach as well, this happens quite a lot at night time. This is why sleep is so important for the neural pathways, for the neuroplasticity to really, you know, embed, and for all these. And two of the best times for, you know, for the access to subconscious mind is right before bed, when the brain waves slow right down, and first thing in the morning as well. So that's a really good time to reprogram the brain and change those the neuroplasticity in the brain as well. So I love what you're doing, Monica. It's very, very powerful. And yeah, it's something that we really all need to know, I think, you know, and because we can have control over our brain. And look, we always have challenges and we always have the saboteur, as you say, but I think we need them to a certain extent so as we can recognize it quicker and then grow from that, grow from that and thrive, you know. And I think, you know, we all have adversities, but we need that to grow, don't we? You know, so yeah, I love it.
About sleep, Joanne, I love the comment about sleep, because a lot of women have insomnia. Yeah. And mental fitness, which is, you know, we know physical fitness is important, but mental fitness, we don't think about it, but it's just as important. And mental fitness will help you sleep better at night, because you're calmer. You know, you don't have the cortisol level going crazy. You're calmer, so you sleep through the night.
Yeah. I love the topic on sleep. Oh my God. And like, you're right. We talk about physical exercise, right? Because we need to move the blood. We need to get the heart pumping. We need exercise for our muscles and the strength. And there's all different types of exercises. But when it comes to mental fitness, and I actually do have a section in one of my sleep modules on mental fitness, because we need to work this as well, because we have all this mental chatter in our head at night time when we're going to sleep. It's the biggest reason why people can't get asleep at night time. But you're right, women do have a bigger struggle. Obviously, there's the hormones involved in that, but there is that we can control that, we can sleep well. So yes, very important. Thank you, Monica. Cheryl, we're going to move on to you, Cheryl. So Cheryl, the comeback courageous coach. Oh my God, tell me all about this. This is very intriguing. Tell me about your book.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Probably about 6 months ago, I got approached to be in a co-author a book, and I, you know, all that chatter came up. I was like, I'm not an author, I don't have a story, but you know, so I took it on, and it was like, wow, like the things that I went through, you know, just telling your story, like you think you are who your story is, but really what I got present to is it was things that happened to you. This is what, you know, events in your life, whatever childhood trauma, whatever it was that you went through, does not dictate who you are. So that was really powerful to, you know, come through that. And also the courage, like you have courage to overcome whatever it is, divorce, whatever you go through, it gives you the courage to do that. So, and you have moments where you're like, oh, I actually have overcome this, and you know, it pushes you forward and brings you to where you are right now.
Yeah, and I love that you wrote this book, because you know, courage is something that it's not easy to come by, so we do need support, and like you have that in your book already accessible in your book, and you're working with your clients now as well, helping them to understand and recognize this and to come through these adversities, right, and to come out to, you know, to own it. And to change the attitude, change the perception, you know, the relationship again, you know, with what happened. And like I've had adversities as well, right? And they don't define me. But who is it? Dr. Gabor Mate. Have you ever heard of Dr. Gabor Mate? Oh, I love him. He's brilliant. You should look him up. He's brilliant.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I do. He says, what is he say? He talks a lot about trauma and addictions and talks a lot about childhood stuff, right? But he said it's not the trauma that's the problem. No, I'm not quoting him correctly, but he says it's the biology, the effects of it after. It's the biology that goes on inside you after the trauma, because our body still thinks it's real, even though it happened 20 years ago or whatever. And we might have series of different kind of traumas, small ones, big ones, but we all have. And again, it's who we are. It's the life we've had, what we've seen with our parents, all this kind of thing. And, some little thing could be a trauma to one person and could just bounce off another person. So we're all individuals. We're all very, very different. But we do need courage to look at this, to be able to go through it, to work through it. Because when we avoid, delay and all these distract ourselves, it's still there with us. But it's there in the past and we're not dealing with it. So it's always going to be there because our tissues remember everything. So I love what you're doing, Cheryl. It's so inspiring. And it's a very courageous thing to do as well, to help people work through this, because not everybody is willing to have a look at their stuff, to know what I mean, and own it and then work their way through it. So amazing what you're doing, Cheryl. And thank you for doing that work. And
if I could just say one thing on that, I think, really, when you said it's at a cellular level, like I've done some energy healing, and it's amazing, what gets lodged in your organs, in your heart, and, in all parts of your body. And, sometimes we play victim to hang on to what we had in the past, right? It's like, oh, my dad was abusive, I'm going to hang on to that. Or, so it's, and everyone hangs on to things differently and lets it go at different times. But yeah, for sure, things, and it's generational too. Like, it's not just your mom. It could go back 20 generations, all of this, you're not worthy, or, anything that you tell yourself, not loved, all of that stuff. So yeah, it definitely does take courage to look at that and to face, what it is and overcome it. It's not easy, but it can be done.
Absolutely. And especially getting support and asking for help. I think the most important thing is to reach out and ask for help, because when we're going through these things, we need support, because we can't look at our own stuff objectively. We need somebody else, like a coach, and even coaches need coaches.
Oh, of course.
We can't see our own stuff. When we're right in the middle of it, we can't see our own stuff. So we need somebody to look at it objectively for us, so that's really, really important. And I love what you said, Cheryl, about, what was it you said about, oh God. When people deny their stuff and they want to hold on to this stuff, right? Yeah. And because some people love the attention. Some people just love getting the attention, like, oh, poor me, and, wrap me up in cotton. And some people do like that. But what I see as well is forgiveness is a huge part, whether you're forgiving yourself, because shame is a huge thing, and an awful lot of us carry shame. And I know I carried it for a long time, and I done the work for years, and I thought I'd done the work, but I discovered I'm always doing the work, right? We all are always doing the work. Yeah. But I discovered, I think 20 years later, after an incident, that I was still carrying shame. I was still I was embarrassed about what happened and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh God. So I had to forgive myself.
Yeah.
I had to forgive myself. No, I didn't. I had to forgive the person as well, but not obviously directly to their face, because there is a saying that when we hold on to this stuff, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That resentment, that you against somebody for doing something to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Poison and expecting them to die, whereas you're drinking the poison because you're holding on to it. So that's a very powerful metaphor, I think,
Well, and it also causes, harm in the body, like diseases and mental state and all of that stuff that we hold on to because we can't or don't want to. It's always a choice to do something and to let it go, or stay in that victim mode and hang on to what happened to you. So it's always courage, and like you said, helping get the support and have the people around you to lift you out of that, because when you're in your bubble, that's all you see is your bubble.
Yeah, it is.
If somebody outside looking in has a better objective.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can do.
And people who are qualified, well, even you can talk to a friend, of course, but like people who are qualified as well. There are people who are qualified, you know, for that really deeper stuff, you know, and there are people out there that you can talk to, and sometimes the other person doesn't need to fix you. Sometimes you just need to be heard. You just need to be heard. You know what I mean? Because it's a very lonely place as well. Anyway, Cheryl, as you can see, we could talk about this forever because it is. Really is. I'm gonna move on. I'm just gonna ask as well, so in terms of this whole project, this 262 project and what it represents, because obviously you're in this project for a reason. So what does it mean to you, you know, when it comes to women coming together and this solidarity that Deborah was talking about? Deborah, I'm gonna ask you, I know you touched on it as well, but is there anything else that you want to add in relation to why people should come to this summit and support it? And there's more summits afterwards. There's a book launch coming as well. So there's lots more stuff coming. But tell people why, Deborah, they need to come to this event, and, you know, that it's really important, you know, what it represents.
Absolutely. Well, look at this group has gotten together, and there's more in this group. The January women got together and said, what do we want this particular summit to mean? And the topic that got discussed was go for it, right? Go for it. And I think we just finished talking all about that, like being brave enough to listen to the voices inside and step forward no matter what. Sometimes we don't know. I didn't know that you're going to turn into a movement and I'm going to be coming to Ireland. I do come to Ireland. But you know, sometimes we just don't know. And I think you need to use the power and the courage of others to inspire what may lay dormant, which we don't know. The second thing is when we say come fill up your bucket, we're not kidding. Like, that's not a joke. Like, listen to these women talk today. This is all about making you better. And so come and receive a gift. What is it about women that have difficult times receiving? They're like, I don't have to pay to come on. We're like, no. And there's tens of thousands of dollars of gifts that are given away. Yeah. So come pop on and off as you might, which is why this whole project is a full open access. So come and receive. Just come and receive. And then I have to say, if you're inspired and you got something to say, we got a little bit of space left for you to say it. We've got some words that you can put on some pages and be seen and be part of this big project. Coming on January says you care about you.
Oh, yeah.
Coming on January says you want to support. If you can't do it for you, do it for the speakers that have sponsored themselves to be there. They've sponsored to come in to share their words of wisdom so that you can have a better life. That's really why women and those that support women, really, it's women. We have gentlemen that come on because we can't get our equality in exclusivity. So we need the world to hear what it is that we're saying and doing. And you can see there's some incredible women. And this is just a snapshot of the women that are going to be sharing that day. So you need to come, because if you're listening to this, you've been called. At the very least, if you're listening to this, you've been called. So we'll see you there. Put a note in the chat and I'll say hello.
I love the synchronicity when you come across something. It really is a message that, you know, I'm in the right place at the right time and I need to hear this message. So if you are listening to this podcast, do come along and, you know, tell your friends, tell people in your family about this, you know, and other women friends, but like, and men friends as well, you know, if they support women, and obviously they do, right? And come and show up. And even if you're somebody who doesn't have the courage to be a speaker in this, I think there's 12 or 13 speakers on the day, you know, you can show your courage and your support for the people who are actually who do have the courage to stand up and speak. Because sometimes it's not always, you know, public speaking is one of the scariest things in the world to do. So it takes something, you know, and especially if, like Deborah, what you said, you know, you weren't called, you were called to this project, you didn't necessarily want to do it, but it was like you had to do it. So you were divinely guided, like, you know, it was something that had to be done, and you felt that power. Do you know what I mean? That universal power, wherever you want to call it, right? But you know, it exists. It really does, you know, and I really believe in synchronicity. And when people work together, it does create that energy, and you can really feel it. So, Mary, I'm going to go to you, Mary. Mary, in terms of, you know, supporting women, what message do you have for people?
Well, I grew up watching my mom not being happy at home. She didn't like cooking for her 5 kids. She wasn't happy. She told me to become the prime minister and get things changed. And that didn't quite happen, but I will help people to get started cooking. And yeah, it's wonderful to show up every month and hear these inspiring women and hear what they're doing and learn every month. It's a lot of fun.
I love what you're doing, Mary, because 6 out of 10 people in Ireland are either obese or overweight, and it's a problem. We're not eating right. We're eating convenience foods, fast foods. They're full of preservatives, full of E numbers and colours and all sorts, and sugar. The amount of hidden sugar in foods. So I love what you're doing, educating people, but to bring the fun back into it as well, because eating around a dinner table for me is a very sacred time. It's a very sacred time, and it's lost in a lot of families, just sitting around the table, no mobile phones, sitting around the table and just being with each other. It's it's the one time of the day that you can be guaranteed that everybody is together, right, in this mad busy world.
Yes. And having healthy food is more than just losing weight. It's about sleeping healthy, not getting diabetes, getting through your work day with energy and vitality. So there's a lot of pieces about eating healthy.
It's a huge pillar of health. That food be thy medicine,
exactly.
And there is just so much, even like I'm into essential oils, so is Deborah, and we get the essential oils from the plants, and they're very therapeutic and healing. But anyway, you do all that kind of work with your clients, and it's a really important pillar. But I love that you bring the fun back into it, and you're encouraging people to sit around that table and eat with each other. So absolutely, that, Mary. Thanks, Monica. What have you got to say about this incredible day that's coming up, and there's going to be many more? But in terms of women coming together, why do you think it's so important?
I say with a new year, take charge of your life. No matter what, you're always right. If you don't think you have time, you won't have time. If you think you can do it, you can do it. We have a lot more control that we think we have. And just do it. Just do it. Yeah. It's, whatever viewpoint you take is right. So make sure you pick the right viewpoint.
Yeah, I love it. And Henry Ford said, Henry Ford, that quote, whether you think that you can or you can't, you're right.
Exactly. And I always say, life can be hard. Suffering is optional.
Oh, nice.
Right? So do we want to choose that path of suffering, the saboteur brain, or do we want to choose a mind of, maybe there's a gift and opportunity here that I don't quite see, and I'm just going to mull it over? Because I really truly believe that anything that happens to you, there is a gift and opportunity there. And when we can shift our focus to looking at that instead of, whoa, this is horrible, this is bad, that whole thing we would tend to go to. Yeah, I think we give ourselves so much power when we look at what's the gift and opportunity. It's always there. Yeah.
What can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? So it's a different attitude altogether, isn't it? And it's all about how can I grow from this? They talk about Thomas Edison failing with the light bulb invention and all the rest, but he tried, I don't know how many times, but they were just all the times that it didn't work until he found the right one. So all those times were just, the times that he failed led to his success. So he had to have all those failures before he could have the success, because each time he learned something different, how not to do it. So I love that. What can you learn from
at choice? We're always at choice. Do I want to be reactive? Or do I want to just be peaceful about it and determined? Like a Zen master, right? Imagine a Zen master going, whatever comes at her, she knows with confidence she'll be able to manage it.
Yeah. Amazing. Incredible. Thank you, Monica. That's great. Joyce, what do you see in this whole movement? Why is it so powerful to you?
Wow. This January, the Go For It, the tagline is also to aspire, inspire, and to receive. And boy, I've been on several of these summits listening to these powerhouse women. The topics, a variety of topics are offered. There's something for everybody here. So it doesn't really matter, but just spend the day, take care of yourself. It's really a self-care day, honestly. And what Deborah's saying, women tend to put themselves last, so this is a day for themselves to really empower themselves to get inspired by everybody. So I find that empowering women is so key to the world becoming a better place.
Yeah, we really need to empower each other, because it can be a tough journey, depending on how you look at it, obviously. But we have many challenges. We've lots of different hats, and we're juggling lots of different things, and we really do need to support each other and just understand each other. And know, me too, and I've got your back. And and women are great. We can just ring each other up and have a little chat. And sometimes that's all it needs. We just need to be heard, and we can give that support to each other. Women love talking, and that's what's great. And we need that support to keep on going, to keep in that leader, that heart leader. And we do need to keep that cup filled, because our little ones are watching us. They're watching us and they're learning from us. So it's really, really important. Cheryl, what do you have to say?
For me, I think it's helping women to have a community and also to bring people together. Like right now, I think women in general are looking for something to be a part of. Because I know before I came into the 262 Summit with Deb, I didn't have this community, and it's just been like, wow, I can call people, I meet people all over the world, right? So, and even just people that I have not connected with, like women that I haven't talked to, I'm bringing them into this as well. So I think it's just, big community, positive energy, powerful women, just connecting and getting something that may be missing in their lives. From being on this.
That's missing in their lives. And yes, and if your life is not working for you, all there is just something missing. That's broken. Yeah. It's just something missing, something that's not working.
And you can change it at any given moment, right? Like you could change it in the next hour if that's what you choose to do, right? It's all in the mind and how you're thinking about it and what you want to do, really.
It's true. That was one of my pivotal moments when I realized how powerful we all are. I was doing some work with a spiritual lady and she got me to do, think about all these things and why did I react that way? Well, what happened? Like, what was the last thing that happened that caused me to do that? And, what's going on there? And just asking myself all these questions. And I broke through a lot of stuff. And one day I woke up and I was doing a circle where every other week. And I realized, oh my God, I'm so powerful. And it kind of scared me how powerful I am. But we don't always remember. We've forgotten, and this is true for everybody. So we are, but there is strength in community, and there is that saying, together we are stronger, we're stronger together, so we really do need to support each other and just be there for each other and just have each other's backs and just have a conversation. And you never know what will come up in a conversation. You could have a breakthrough in a conversation, not even with any intentions, but you just get that aha moment out of the blue, just having a conversation. I always think that's just amazing. Like, it's crazy how you get ideas and innovations just having a conversation. But listen, thank you, ladies, for being here. Oh my God, I love talking to you all about this, empowering women, empowering people everywhere, empowering families, and what you're bringing to the table. It's not just light stuff. You've done it. You've had your own challenges, and you have your why behind what it is that you're doing in the world today. Obviously, every single one of us here have been through a challenge or an adversity of some kind. And we don't want that to happen to other people. We don't want the suffering, as Monica says, there's no suffering. And we're here to empower the world and to share our gifts with the world. And sometimes it's not easy and it takes a bit of courage. And I really take my hat off to you all, and I take my hat off to myself as well. Because I tell you, when I started doing podcasts, I was shitting myself. And now I love doing them. I love doing them. And the people that I meet, and what I hear what they're up to in the world, it's like, oh my God, it's just incredible what people are willing to do, and it's like they don't have any control over it. It's like they've been pulled by the universe, and Deb, you get that. And it's just amazing, but there is support, and it's amazing what shows up in your life to help support you along the way as well, the work that we're doing here as female leaders, but it really is incredible. So before I just wrap up, I just want to shout out to the audience as well. If you like this podcast, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to this podcast, share it with your friends, share it with your family, and do send a donation in. So there's links in the show notes there, so you can send a donation in, a once-off donation or a monthly donation. You can support me on Patreon. So because, this putting these podcasts on does cost money. So, and if you want to continue hearing these podcasts, it would be great if you can support me with any kind of donation. So that would be fantastic. So do subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on all the audio platforms as well, iTunes, Spotify, all the usual audio platforms too. So I'm going to wrap up, and I'm going to thank Mary, Joyce, Monica, Cheryl, and of course the wonderful Deborah for being here. Can't wait to see everybody there. See you here. Okay. Here. Step the night off. Right. Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
I do hope you are enjoying these conversations, and to help me continue putting these videos and audio podcasts together, I do have an ask. I do need support to help me to keep bringing you knowledge and insights. There is a Patreon link, patreon.com/empowering family health, or you can make a donation via PayPal. All the links are in the description and the pinned comment. You can do a one-off, or you can do a monthly support. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Take care.